All right, Taylor. Dude,
Chris.
we're live.
Happy to be here, man.
Dude, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm excited about this. I have a lot of good questions for you, and I really want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
So first off, I'm just going to start off with this question, and then we'll talk a little bit more about who you are, what you do.
Let's get into it.
So what are you going to do to celebrate once you do hit your first $1 million?
1 million. Yeah, that's a pretty big milestone. I definitely, when I was younger, that was one of those things, shit, when can I get to $1 million? And thinking onto it, I think probably go to a nice dinner, enjoy with my family, do something
nice.
Maybe, I think I would celebrate it with friends and family. And not even make it a big thing about $1 million. Maybe just keep it to myself. But also celebrating it with someone like, why are we celebrating? You know what? Just, I wanted to. Like maybe an internal celebration.
Yeah.
I think
just they don't even know what it is.
They don't even know what it's for. I think my mindset a lot is, 1 million, great. Now let's get to 2.
Yeah.
And then let's get to 4. And then let's get to 8. So it would be a mini celebration inside, but I think I would want to celebrate with my friends and family.
Yeah. Anybody in particular that you would think of, like right off the top, like who's number one person you're gonna invite?
Number one person,
like there's gotta be somebody you're like, dude, that's the person like I want there for sure, and if they're not there, I'm like sad.
Probably my mom and dad.
Yeah,
mom and dad.
That's a good one.
Dude, those for them, like, they were the people who. And I've been thinking about this, and we kind of get in conversations, and we've talked off camera.
Yeah.
You think about who motivated you to get into business? Why are you entrepreneurial?
Yeah.
We both do entrepreneurial stuff. What was it about our upbringing that kind of pushed us into that?
Yeah.
And for me, I think it was a lot my family. They just, pushed me to be better. And certain things, maybe not even what they said, but their actions was motivating enough for me to want to be an entrepreneur or a businessman and get to that $1 million or $2 million or.
Hell yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah.
Taylor, so tell us just a little bit more about who you are. So since we're already on that.
Yeah, of course.
Who are you? Like you grew up in Sacramento.
Yep.
Tell us more about like your childhood. Like what was that like? What was it like being in Sacramento? Your parents, more details. I just kind of want to know who you were.
For sure. So I grew up in Sacramento, California, Northern Cal, born and raised, and kind of growing up, just loved playing sports.
Nice.
That was something that really propelled me when I was growing up. Really focused baseball, basketball, soccer, played every sport growing up.
Yeah.
My parents really put me into that. I think, one, to make friends. I was realizing, looking back, sports was a great avenue for me to get out and meet people and create good relationships that I still have to this day.
For sure.
Which is awesome. But yeah, grew up in Sacramento, went to a great high school, still have buddies from there.
What school was it?
Jesuit High School in Sacramento.
Is that private?
Yeah, private all boys high school.
Oh, nice.
And I know a lot of people are like, all guys high school, what was that dichotomy like? And it was honestly fantastic.
Yeah.
I wasn't in a fraternity in college, but I imagine that brotherhood that I had in high school was similar to what a fraternity bond is in college. Sure. So that's what I really enjoyed. And I love Sacramento. A lot of people ask me, because we live obviously in Southern California now, would you ever go back? And I think in a certain circumstance, like it's home.
For sure. Home has a special feeling.
Dude, home, there's something about where you grew up and the streets and the landmarks, where you had your first kiss,
it's crazy.
Where you drove your first time driving your car, or you got your license, the DMV, all that stuff. Yeah. There's a lot of nostalgia that comes with that. So I love Sacramento. I love my hometown.
As far as like your upbringing, was it, middle class? Like where were you? Like what was it? What did that look like? And like how does that, translate to where you're trying to go with your goals?
Definitely. So I was very fortunate enough to have two sides of a different coin. So on my parents, when I was younger, they got divorced when I was like one and a half. So I was very young. And my mom remarried and married my stepfather, who had his own business. And so his family had done well, and like really hard workers, started their own business, doing well, upper middle class lifestyle. So I got to see that growing up. I lived with them most of my life. And then my dad, who I absolutely adore and love the man. He lived more of a nomadic life. So he had a couple marriages and, had different aspects growing up. There was some stuff with him growing up that I think really shaped who I was. He had gone through some struggling times with work, with drinking, with other personal issues, where he really wasn't in the same position as I was living in with my mom. So I'd go be with my mom for 2 weeks at a time, and then I'd go be with my dad for 2 weeks at a time. And it was almost like at my mom's house, we were studying, we were, really focused on school, going to sports, all this kind of stuff. And then when I was with my dad, we were just kind of hanging out, being friends and buddies.
Which is cool,
It was cool.
The balance between parents,
And I like my parents are my two favorite heroes in the world.
For
sure. But I got to see on my dad's side, lower. We always had enough food, always had Christmas presents, stuff like that.
You're comfortable.
I was comfortable.
Yeah.
But I got to see what a lower lifestyle was like, and then I got to see what an upper lifestyle was like. And with the upper lifestyle, I liked what I did. I liked that we got to do certain things. I liked vacations. I liked all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And that helped me kind of picture in my mind where I wanted to go in my future.
Taylor, I have a question that I've been wondering, actually. I don't think I've ever asked you this.
Please.
So what was the dynamic, or what was the decision like for you from Sacramento to LA to jumping into Matthews, where you're at now? Where did that how did that decision look like?
So for me, jumping and wanting to come to Southern California, so it started with me being do you want to wait for that, or do you want to keep it going?
Nah, you can go. Keep going.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's all good. So it started with me. So I went to school, University of Alabama. So the first choice, I guess we could start in college. My decision to go to Alabama, way far away from California, was strictly, not purely, but a big part of it was wanting to go try something new. Get out of my comfort zone. Go experience something that I never had experienced before. I love the idea of traveling. I love the idea of living somewhere else. And for me, it was 4 years, or 3.5, where I could go and really just experience a whole different way of living. Or at least that's what I envisioned. I was going to go try something new, do whatever it was. So during that time, I was fortunate enough to live near, or when I was in Sacramento, a lot of my friends' parents who were very, very successful did real estate. They were either developers.
In Alabama, you said?
No, in Sacramento.
Oh, in Sacramento.
Sorry, this was in high school. So they were developers. They did brokerage. They did.
So you had the idea already of real estate in your head.
It was one of the options that I wanted to do in high school. Yeah, it was one of the things I was like, oh, well,
Thanks. So you're already in high school, already thinking about doing.
Well, I wanted to be a professional baseball player. In high school. I wanted to be an
Everybody
athlete.
has the crazy
Everyone,
dream.
wants to be a professional sports player. At a certain point, I realized my senior year, I was like, all right, I got hurt. I'm not going to be able to go play baseball.
You got the wake-up call that
I could go to a D3 school and attempt it, or I could go to a D1 school, enjoy myself, and really get on the business path, because I just wanted to be successful.
For sure.
I knew whatever I did, I just wanted to be successful at it. So really, that was kind of where I got my experience with real estate. I got to see my friends' fathers just really successful in the space, and they had a good work-life balance, and it was something that I thought that I would have wanted. So I didn't know that I wanted to do real estate before I went to school, but then I think my sophomore year, I enrolled in finance and a minor or specialization in real estate. And I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go be a real estate person, learn everything I can about it, and then eventually get into development, brokerage, whatever it is. I want to be involved in real estate.
Sure.
So at a certain point, I started interning at real estates during the summer. And then once I graduated, I actually, at the time, and I think you know this, I was filming YouTube videos.
Yeah.
And I was doing this because I had seen these people on YouTube, and they were absolutely being really successful. Everyone seemed to like them. It was a situation where they were having that branding image. They could sell merch. They could do all this stuff. And I was like, that's awesome. Like, every kid nowadays wants to be a YouTuber, right? Instead of wanting to be a Hollywood actor, they want to be a YouTuber.
No, it's true, yeah.
So that was where I did. So from my junior year of college, I made until before I started Matthews, I made almost 300 videos on my YouTube channel. And I got up to like 7,500 subscribers. And that was something I thought I wanted to do after college. I was like, all right, I'm going to go full bore in this. I'm going to give it 6 months. And if I make it, I make it. If I don't, I'm going to go do real estate. So I graduated a semester early. And in January of 2018, I was living at home, but I was also working as a professional personal trainer. It's like, you make a little money. Mom was like, you got to go do something. So
right.
I filmed the videos every day, and then I worked at the gym to make a little extra income. And I tried that for 6 months, got up to 7,500, and at a certain point I was like, well,
7,500 subscribers.
7,500 subscribers. Yeah.
Not bad.
At a certain point,
it's pretty good.
I was happy with it. I was, but I knew that I couldn't live off that. I couldn't live off 7,500 subscribers. It just wasn't enough income. I'd made like maybe $800 in all of my YouTube career.
Right.
So
I was just
at that point.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. I want to hear the rest.
And so I knew, I was like, all right, I need to make more money. Let me transition into brokerage. And so how I came to Southern California is my uncle lives in San Diego, in La Jolla, and we would go down there every summer and visit with him for 7 to 10 days. We'd go stay at his place, or we'd stay at this resort, and we'd go and just be down there for a week. I loved the beach. I loved everything about it. This fish taco joint was absolutely incredible, and we'd just go down there, and the whole atmosphere was something that I loved. And so coming down, I was like, I'm gonna go live in SoCal. So I drove down here for some interviews. This was in April of 2018, and interviewed at a couple places in San Diego, and then came up here, and then ended up interviewing at Matthews. I walked in and I was like, hey, can I interview? And they're like, sure, okay. And so they sat me down, 2 people interviewed me, and then the next day they called me back and said, yeah, hey, we want to hire you. So then 2 weeks later, came down here and started living in SoCal.
And so you said you just walked in. Did you really just like walk in, or like?
So it's kind of funny how that happened. So
the reason I asked the question, I'm trying to like, if somebody is thinking about doing what you're doing, how do they get that? Like, do you just literally knock on like the CEO's door? You can't really necessarily do that.
It was a little bit different. So I had a little bit of an inside track because my aunt's best friend, her son worked at Matthews at the time. And so she was like, I know you're trying to get into brokerage. Like there's my friend's son really loves his job. He says the company is really young. They're really rambunctious. They're doing a lot of things. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, sure. I'd never heard of the company, Matthews. But I was like, okay, I just want to learn brokerage if it's a cool company.
So she got your foot in the door there.
Yeah, if kind of. So what happened was I was down here for interviews, and I had not set up an interview yet. I had emailed the person who worked at Matthews. I was like, hey, I'd love to come and interview. Can we do it this weekend? He's like, yeah, sure, we'll try it. I sent in my resume. I didn't hear anything back. And so I was ready to head back up to Sacramento because I drove down here. And I was like, can I curse?
Yeah, go for it.
I was like, fuck it. Like, I need to go and walk into this office and see if I can get something, because I don't want to have to come back for an interview and drive down. So I went in the office, and literally the person who was in charge, Nicole at the time, she was like, oh yeah, I got your email. Sorry I wasn't able to set it up, but let me see if anyone can interview. So I literally walked in, and she had 2 people, my senior and someone else, and they interviewed me, and they were like, yeah, I like this guy, I want this kid. So the next day they emailed me, and then that's how I kind of got it.
Nice.
So yeah, there was initiative involved for sure. It wasn't handed to me. So to your question, I guess, for people who want to get in the commercial real estate agency, just be tenacious, man.
Sure.
A lot of brokers are very tenacious. They don't take no for an answer. They're not obnoxious about it, but they know when to keep following up.
For sure.
Follow up is a huge, and even in your business, you understand.
Definitely.
Follow up is the name of the game.
For sure. Taylor, I want to take it a little bit away from that. I want to kind of go into what you talked about, specifically with like some of the people you saw, the fathers of guys in high school, those guys, and you said they had just a great work-life balance. What's your thoughts on like work-life balance and like mindset and just kind of getting that together, and what's the best way to be as effective as you possibly can be doing what you do?
Yeah, I think And I'm still figuring it out as I go. But my mindset at this point in time and where I am in my career is I would like to front load my work life, my career, I guess you could say, which means in terms, I want to work really, really hard in the beginning, like almost to an extreme level, where once I get to a successful point, it becomes less and less about pushing yourself. You do all the work in the beginning, you front load your career, so you're working 75, 80, 85 hours a week, so that in 10 years, instead of having to work 40 hours a week, you're working 20, or you're working 40, but you absolutely love it, I guess the only question I would have there is what's like, you need to ask yourself, what is that point of success? Sure. You know what I'm saying? Totally. So, and I don't know if I have that exact number yet. I don't know if there's a number that I have where how much income I want to make before it transitions into that. But I think where I'm at this point, I enjoy what I'm doing. I don't feel like, oh man, I got to get up at this point in time. I got to do this.
What do you think is like a good benchmark for someone else to like gauge success?
In terms of money, or in terms of
success? Success is just it's a weird word because it doesn't necessarily mean money. It doesn't necessarily, because you could be rich, like super rich, and you pretty much hate your life. I don't know, like there's people out there like that. So,
it's all, in my opinion, it's all relative. So however you feel, you come up with your envision and your dream of what you want. Right. So whatever it takes, wherever you think that point is, figure out ways to get there, come up with a plan, and then work to get to that place, and then you can figure the rest out once you get there.
So it's more of like the ideal vision of what you have for your own life. I know that's kind of, is that what you're basically saying?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Know and have a vision. A lot of people are just kind of coasting. They're like, I guess I'll figure it out.
One day something will just
totally, and it'll be like, oh, I got it. But I've read enough books and have studied enough to know you have to envision where you want yourself to be.
Have you read the book Think and Grow Rich?
I have, yeah.
In the book, I believe this is in Think and Grow Rich, Earl Nightingale, he reads the audiobook. It's by Napoleon Hill, but Earl Nightingale reads it, and at one point he says, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So it's exactly what you basically just said. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So it's like whatever your worthy ideal is, success is the progressive realization. So you're constantly trying to progress towards that worthy ideal. As long as you're on that path and you're continuing to do that, you're essentially a successful person. Like right now, you're a successful person, in my opinion, because you're trying to accomplish whatever.
I appreciate that. Thank
goal.
You.
Yeah.
And it's we have conversations off camera because we're obviously friends and stuff, and a couple of our other buddies into. It's a very interesting point in our lives where we're young and we're trying to figure out exactly what we want for our lives. Some people want different things, but we're all trying to get somewhere. Yeah. Or at least find out what our purpose is. Yeah. Like what do we want out of life? And I don't know the answer just yet. Right. But I do know that there's certain luxuries that income, money has, situational relationships, where you're just given freedom. Yeah. Freedom to choose, hey, I want to go spend time with my kids. I want to be able to take my wife out on a fantastic dinner. I want to go on a trip because it's something I want to do. Right. I think for me, success is getting to a point where I feel that I have freedom to do the things that I want to do in that moment. That
makes a lot of sense. I think I would argue that a majority of people probably feel the same way.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think money will bring you to a certain level. Money will unlock a certain amount of freedom, which will allow you to do what you want. Essentially, be happy. I think. I don't know. I think money has there's a certain, like I said, a certain level of money that will make you happy. Yeah. Like to a maybe I can't put a pinpoint.
Have you defined success for yourself?
Yeah. It's pretty much what I just said. Progressive realization of a worthy ideal. Like I have a vision of exactly what I want for my ideal future. And like I see it playing out. I see the house. I see like people around me. I see the vacation I go on. I see my business being where it's at. I see like the philanthropy that I want to do. I see it all. And as long as I'm on a day-to-day basis maximizing my efforts to get to that, I feel like I'm on the path to success, and I am successful.
So it's that path. It's the journey almost.
Yeah.
And it's both. I was listening to a podcast or something, and they were talking about success isn't just the journey, and it isn't just the destination. It's everything, the whole process.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about this a little bit today when on my walk this morning, of what I thrive on, and I think it's competition.
Yeah.
Competition with myself, competition with others. I don't know if that's a good place to be. I don't know if it's a bad place to be, but a lot of my drive and a lot of things that I do stems from a level of competition. And I think it was from growing up playing sports too. There was just always competing for something.
I was going to touch on that when I was just letting you tell your story, but I think it's super interesting how I've seen several guys coming out of like those all boys private schools, and they're just beasts. Yeah. Like they're just studs, because that competition, you're around a bunch of guys that are just competing, trying to be better, and competing with yourself is essentially the best thing you can do. Try to be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday. And I think a lot of that comes down to not like, it's a balance of like being aware and judging yourself, but at the same time like not judging yourself too much. It's a weird balance, I think. It's so hard to, I
love, and what you're talking about in awareness, and I don't know if you've read the book.
I did.
Did you?
I listened to the whole audiobook.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so that, for me, struck a chord when I listened to that. And if you don't know what we're talking about, it's a book by Anthony DeMello called Awareness. And if you haven't read that book, I would highly suggest it. One of my favorites. And he just digs into, and the audiobook's fantastic because you can hear how he speaks. He digs into actual happiness and actual awareness, and that awareness for me was just like a mind-blowing philosophy. I was like, wow, yeah, I have everything that I ever need is inside of me.
Yeah,
everything. My happiness is not necessarily tied with money. It's not necessarily tied with friends. It's not necessarily tied with any material object, anything but myself. I can decide how I feel. If I want to be happy, that's on me, right? If I want to be mad, that's my decision.
Dude, the moment that actually clicks, and it like starts to make sense, and you start taking accountability for what's happening, dude, it's actually a very liberating feeling. Because
so liberating.
It's like, okay, now what my sister like does is not gonna like ruin my life. Like it's really just me. Like I have control of that. It's a great,
and I put this to the test all the time. When I'm driving in the car and someone cuts you off, it's hard not to get upset when someone cuts you off. And not that I don't get upset now, but I'm more aware of that feeling. Oh, I'm feeling upset. Why am I feeling upset? I'm letting this person who cut me off dictate how I feel.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't not be the case.
Sure, no.
I shouldn't let them be able to control my emotions.
Yeah.
So that was something that I was just, when I read it, I was like, wow, God, yeah. Where was this? I needed this before when I was growing up.
It's a great book for sure. Taylor, I want to take it a little bit into some more of like expertise advice that you might have with real estate. So what do you think about, and I've asked you this question before, and I wanted to get a little more detail about it. What do you think about investing in California real estate versus, outside of California, other states real estate?
It's a difficult question for a lot of people. I am a firm believer, and you have to know what you're investing in. So for me, being in California, there's an advantage because I know the real estate. I know where good areas are. I know most of the laws. I know what's dictating basically a good investment. So in terms of investing in California versus somewhere else, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
As long as you know where you're investing. So for me, I would feel most comfortable investing in California right now if I had $300,000 put on a down payment on $1 million property.
Yeah. So sitting on a lot more cash.
Yes. You obviously have to have more money because things in California are more expensive.
Yeah.
But there's a reason, because California has historically been very safe. It's a very safe place to own your assets. Not a lot of valuations have decreased. They really only increased over time.
Well, the demand's here.
Right?
Yeah.
Supply and demand. So my belief is that California unless something really crazy happens. They get super aggressive with these landlord laws. And it seems like more and more people are leaving the state because they have been getting more.
But, they're just going to get their spots filled. And that's my opinion.
Yeah. So, I would be happy and I would love to invest across the country, and I plan on investing across the country.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, I believe my first deal is going to be in California just because it's what I know.
Right.
Now, if there's an opportunity outside the state, I'll jump on it as quick as I can. I just need to know the fundamentals of everything about the real estate transaction, the deal, the area, to feel confident to want to invest my money in there.
If somebody was like a young investor and they were just about to start, buying their first property, what would you say to them? Like, is the most important thing just understanding the actual know the market, or is it actually like, do the numbers, like if the numbers are just so good, like then just is it worth taking the risk, the gamble?
I do. I think if the numbers are so good where it makes sense anywhere across the country, I think it's worth it.
Right.
At a certain point, though, if the numbers are so good, you have to think to yourself, why are these numbers so good? Is there something else? Is there something else?
Something's up.
Now there's cases where you just find a great deal and it's a good deal and you're just like, fuck yeah, like great, I'm gonna go get this one.
Right.
And there's certain circumstances where, okay, there's a 7 cap on market, it's on LoopNet. Why is there a 7 cap on LoopNet? Am I missing something? So you can kind of dig in and figure out, 7 cap, well, it's because of this area is tougher than this. You got to have a little bit of
What's a 7 cap?
7 cap, so a cap rate, so capitalization rate. Basically, it's the amount of return that you're getting, the net operating income divided by the price.
Oh, okay.
So it's a real estate function that a lot of investors use to figure out if it's a good return on their money.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I did not know that. That's good info.
Yeah, it's one of those real estate things, I know.
So what do you think is going to happen to real estate across the country in the next 12 months? Do you have any predictions?
It's going to slow down.
Yeah.
Tremendously. I'm still figuring out exactly where the market's going to be headed, and I don't know. I think once the coronavirus kind of evens out and people are back into the economy and things are starting to run again, we'll figure out if this debt situation is going to really come crashing down hard on a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of car debt, there's a lot of student debt, there's a lot of other debts that
it's going to be tough.
Were covered up by, I don't even know, but it seems like they were covered up or just kind of propped up on these expectations that the economy is keep going up.
Yeah.
And now that it's all coming to the surface and there's a backlog of non-payment,
that's a great point.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see. So, in my opinion, probably the next 12 months there's going to be a recession/depression.
Yeah.
In
but
terms
it's
of real estate.
Specifically real estate, you're saying?
Even in real estate.
Or the whole economy.
The whole economy, and in real estate, transaction volume is going to be down. I don't know how much, but right now, and it's been about 6 weeks since kind of the coronavirus hit the real estate market, transaction volume's down 80-85%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's ridiculous. It's just, you can't get money.
Right.
Lending isn't happening.
So lending isn't happening.
Lending is,
that's not good.
It's the banks. Right now, the issue is you can't get money. So if you can't get money, then you can't invest.
Right.
Because you got to buy deals all cash, and then there's so much risk, and then the sellers aren't willing to sell because
just slowing down. Dude.
Yeah, they don't want their price expectations versus what reality is has not caught up yet. It's only been 4 weeks. It's like they don't want to hear that their properties dropped 20% in value in 4 weeks. No one wants to hear that. Ever.
No.
And that's across the board, right?
Right, yeah.
So it's figuring out exactly how long it's going to be lasting and then what the actual fallout is once it does kind of clear out.
Yeah, I was going to say this might be a great opportunity for people to actually get in now,
totally.
But if lending isn't happening, then that's just a whole dilemma,
Yeah, totally. If you can always find sources. So
hard money lenders.
Once the virus runs its course, deals are going to be, in my opinion,
moving again.
Yes, they'll be moving again, and they'll be good deals, and it'll be cheaper than it was 2 months ago. You'll find better deals.
Yeah, nice.
But is it the right time to? Yeah, watch out.
Start looking.
So yes, if you have money and you've been wanting to invest and you've been looking into it, I don't think if you wait 6 months, you're gonna miss out.
Yeah.
I wait for a good deal. A good deal makes sense
in any market.
Yeah.
So wait for a good deal where there's arbitrage value and go and attack the deal when you can get it.
Do you think this could be like an amazing opportunity for young investors? Like this could set them up if they find the right deal?
For sure. Yeah, it could definitely start a lot of people's careers, even in real estate and then in other aspects as well. The people who, some of the greatest companies in the world were started in recessions.
Yeah.
I don't know the list, but I know it's you know, all the companies you know of today, a lot of them were started in 2008, 2009, 2010. So there could be a lot of real estate investors who start their career.
Do you know, like,
just because everything depresses. So the people who,
it's kind of like an even playing field, would
right?
you say, or
things just don't get as expensive, so you can go and take advantage of other people's concerns and being aggressive by knowing your shit. If you know the ins and outs of the numbers, you know the market, you know what a good deal is, then you can go and be aggressive because you're confident in your decisions.
Right.
So you have to be confident in your ability to go and execute a business plan, and be confident in your knowledge that you're going to be able to execute that business plan.
That's interesting.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does. I heard somewhere, I don't know exactly where, I might have been reading something, and this could be totally wrong, but they're saying, like, essentially what you basically said, 2008 had a bunch of, big companies that took off in that time, but they're saying that roughly right now there's like 10 to 20 small businesses right now that are going to be some of the biggest companies in the world in the next like 5 years that are being built right now, like as we speak.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. It's like, oh shoot, like these are like potentially some like massive next
Uber,
companies.
Apple, Facebook, Netflix. It's like they're being built right now.
Yeah.
They in 5 to 10 years, there will be a company, or even less than that, 3 years, who knows? There will be a company that's starting right now, as we speak, that is going to be worth billions of dollars. April 2020, that'll be worth billions of dollars. That's worth zero right now.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
So maybe it could be one of you guys.
So
if it is, let us know. We'd love to invest seed round.
I know.
Give us some seed round opportunities.
I'll be an angel investor. I'm down. Let's do it. This is actually a great time to probably invest. Actually, if you think about it.
If you know what you're doing, if you have faith in the long term, if the fundamentals of your business make sense, I think it's a great time.
Yeah, for sure. So Taylor, what do you do, and like what can you do as a real estate broker? What can you do to set yourself apart and be like different than other guys, and like what do you do specifically that you would say like has really helped? Is there one thing you would like pinpoint, or something that's worked for you?
Personally, for myself, the one thing that has helped me grow the most to where I am, and by no means am I at a successful level where I think I should be giving tons of advice to a lot of people, but from what has worked for me, it's effort on the front end, being a hard worker, doing the little things in terms of, for us, it's making the calls, it's getting in the office, it's doing the research, it's following up, reaching out. Some of the best tips that I've learned or that I've experienced and realized is the art of organization is huge. If you can be extremely, extremely organized, never lose a lead, know exactly what's going on. You always have, there's a deal that comes up, and someone who's a buyer, and it could just be one perfect buyer, but you've been organized enough to
find that person quickly and not waste a ton of time.
Not waste a bunch of time.
Right.
That is huge. Being organized.
Yeah.
Another one is being tenacious in your follow-up.
Nice.
Trust your instincts. Know when you have a lead. Know when someone is a seller. Know when there's an opportunity. There's just some little thing inside you just feel it. You're like, there's something about that.
Yeah.
I know that I can dig something up. There's something to see there.
You know those feelings.
Yeah, you have that feeling inside you. Capitalize on that and do not let them fall through the cracks. Because I've had situations where, I knew that person wanted to sell, or there was like some inclination that they did, and I just didn't follow up with them, or it was a couple months before I reached back out to them, and they ended up listing it and selling it with someone else.
Damn.
And it's just one of those things you're like, God, really? I knew it. I had a feeling. I just didn't I didn't follow up. I wasn't continuous with it. I didn't reach them. Maybe I tried calling them, but I didn't email them. Or, I didn't have their email, and I called them, but I could have sent them a letter because I had their home address.
Yeah.
Or whatever
it
it is.
takes that one moment. I think it's happened with me several times where, you know, like you think it's a dead, you know, like it's a dead lead, and then you go and you pick up the phone randomly, you call them, and you just happen to pick them up at the right time. They answer the phone, and they're like, you know what, I was actually just thinking about that, and I'm so glad you called. Like, let's go. Let's make it happen, dude. Those are the best. Like, you're just like
it's such a good feeling. A lot of in your business and mine, timing is such a big issue.
It's huge.
So you can't necessarily time everything right on the dot. You'll get lucky. You'll hit someone like that on the perfect time. Right. But a lot of times you'll call them and they just won't want to talk to you, or they're in a bad mood. They had something bad happen to them today. It's not necessarily you. It's not that they changed from a good lead to a bad lead. It's just in that moment in time it wasn't the right time for them.
Right.
So,
but that's when it comes back to being tenacious.
Right. And confident enough to know, I know there's something there. Maybe they didn't give it to me then, but I'm going to keep following up with them, keep being proactive, doing whatever it takes to get my name in front of them. When they think I'm going to sell my building, who do I want to sell it with? I would like them to think Taylor Avakian. Yeah. Right. That's my goal is to be able to be the guy in Koreatown Apartments. I have a building in Koreatown. Who am I going to sell it with? Taylor Avakian.
And is that your main spot?
That's my main area. Yeah. Okay. I'm from downtown to Beverly Hills-ish, north of the 10 freeway. Nice. So like Westlake, Koreatown, Mid Wilshire, and then Beverlywood, La Brea area. Apartments. Yeah. Yeah, nice. I sell apartments. So for me, that's the goal. I'm still figuring it out. Like, I just did a postcard campaign. Yeah. I'm spending, $17,000 on that this year. Wow. Just investing in these postcards, sending 2,000 postcards a month. Yeah. And if it's like, and that's one thing I think is huge, and I haven't got exactly the fruits of my labor just yet. Yeah. But investing in yourself always has the biggest return on that investment. The biggest ROI is investing in yourself. Investing in your knowledge, investing in your learning, investing in those events, those client events, investing in whatever it is, mailers, door handles. Yeah,
it's crazy how true it is, and like so many people say it, but people don't do it. And until you actually do it, you're like, oh shit, this works. Like, like for example, I'll give you an example of something that happened with me the other day. This was probably a couple months back, but I was working on this deal, trying to get it done. It was a decent sized deal. It wasn't huge, but I felt good about it. I just for some reason couldn't close it. Yeah. And then somebody had said, I just heard somebody say, like, invest in yourself is the best investment. And somebody recommended me this book about closing deals by Grant Cardone. It's called the Seller's Investor Guide. I mean, Closer's Handbook, something like that. Yeah. And I saw it. It was like $9.99. I was like, I don't have the money for this, but I'm gonna buy it. So I bought it. I listened to the whole audiobook, and there was like one part of it that I literally just heard, and I was like, wow, this is how I'm gonna close this deal.
This could be perfect.
I literally just stopped the audiobook. I picked up the phone. I called the client. Yeah. And I was like, look, I don't mean to keep bothering you. I did exactly what he said in the book, and I just said, like, I don't mean to keep bothering you, but we need to get this done. Like, we need to finish this right now. And they were like, okay, let's do it.
Wow.
I was like, let's go. Dude. I was like, dude, it's literally this
$9.99 investment.
This $9.99 investment. I just got a bunch of value, and now I have this deal that just made me a lot more money. Right? For sure.
And you have this knowledge. And you have that, bless it, we all keep our minds. That's something that I would, a lot of things you can't necessarily take for granted. But as long as you have your mind, can't take away your knowledge, man. Right. Your knowledge is something that is so powerful. They could cut me down right now. I could get fired or lose my job or whatever it is. I could have zero money, and I would be confident in my knowledge to know that I could go and get back to the position that I am now. Yeah. And that's some confidence that you don't get until you've actually done it.
It's interesting. That's a very interesting point. Have you heard when people say, if they took the money away from all the richest people in the world and gave it out to everybody even amount of number, even amount of money, those richest people in the world, they'll find a way to get it all back.
They would get it back. I'm a firm believer in that.
And it's a mindset.
100%.
Do you have anything like specific that you do? Like, is there like an energy, or is there like a mindset that you go into each day? Like, do you start your day? Like, what's your routine? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah. So that's interesting. Yes. I'm fascinated by routines. I love Tim Ferriss. I love all that.
I know you wake up early.
Yeah, I'm an early riser. So The quarantine's been a little bit different, but I'll just kind of walk you through what it was before the quarantine. So I'd wake up at 4:30. I would get dressed, get my bag ready for work, go to the gym. Gym opens at 5. I'd work out from 5 to 6, get in the office by 6:15, do research, BOVs, whatever it was, from 6 to 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock, I start calling from 8 to whenever. In between there, I have meetings and stuff like that, but my goal is to get to 100 cold calls a day.
Wow.
So, whether that's 4 o'clock, whether that's 5, whether that's 6, whether that's 7, get to my 100 cold calls, and then from there, I'm working on other BOVs. I'm doing research. I'm emailing. Broker opinion to value. That's what an owner, if in my apartment building, if he was like, "How much is my building worth?" I'd put together a BOV, an opinion of value. And so I'm working on those. I'm working on follow-up emails. I'm working on figuring different ways to, if I want to do a LinkedIn post, if I want to do some sort of thought piece, whatever it is, I'm working on that research. That's the time I spend from, let's say, 5 to 7. And then I either Tuesdays and Thursdays, I used to go play basketball at the gym. You got to get that in there. Yeah, I enjoy that. That's kind of some time where I'm just like, one thing that I'm very thankful for, and I'll wrap up the schedule in a little bit, but I'm very thankful for the fact that once I leave the office, I can really just
check out.
Yeah.
I'm very good at that too.
I can just check out. I know a lot of people are just constantly thinking about work, and once I leave, man, I'm good. Like I can put my phone down. I'm not worried about deals. I'm not worried about all this stuff.
I actually think it's more of, professionals will actually have better work-life balance like that. Like they'll actually check out, because some people that try to work through lunch and they try to, just go those crazy hours and they're still at home, working. Like you're going to either burn yourself out or you're going to, that's why I just think you might just burn yourself out.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's not as effective. Taking that lunch is actually overall healthier for your body to perform, getting that sleep in.
Totally.
I don't know.
No, I'm agree. And so on that point, finishing up my schedule,
let's hear it.
I get home 7, maybe watch an episode of something. Maybe I do a little research on YouTube, watch a couple of, sales videos or whatever.
Educational stuff.
Yeah, something educational. Read a book, whatever it is. I try to go to bed during the week at like 8:30, man. Like I go to bed early.
I know. I do. That's crazy.
Because again, I want to get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Right.
Because I do feel I need that sleep. I can't function on, or I do not like to function on 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah, that's true. It's different thing that you can't and you don't like.
Exactly.
There's people,
I can.
Yeah.
I don't like to.
I know there's a lot of super successful people that historically have operated on like 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
Of
sleep, which is I'm like, that's so cool for you, dude. That's I don't know. That's fantastic. Yeah. That's awesome. But for me, I feel the best when I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
Ideally 8 plus. And so I really prioritize going to bed early so that I can wake up at that 4:30 and crush the day.
Right.
Taylor,
we got to wrap it up, but I want to ask you, do you have a go-to quote or something that, like a mantra or something that you live by that is like inspired you?
We talked a little bit about it earlier, but it's awareness.
Yeah.
Awareness. That I have it actually tattooed on my leg. Awareness. And for me, it's a constant reminder of thinking and being bigger than the situation. Sometimes stepping out of the situation that I'm in and taking a step back and realizing, okay, why am I feeling this way? What is this for? How do I get over this? The obstacle is the way. Like, be aware of your situation and you can think through most of your problems. Or all of your problems.
I love it.
Yeah.
At what point did you say, like, I'm going to get this tattooed on my leg?
Dude, it was actually pretty quickly after I read it. It was, I'm telling you, it was one of those books. I do like tattoos. I have a couple of them, and I think I'll probably get a couple more. It's kind of cool nowadays being a business guy who's got tattoos because you're covered up anyways. But I just enjoy them. And it was probably...
Unless you're getting like the teardrops in the neck.
Yeah, exactly. then maybe not for the business sense. But I think it was probably like 8 weeks after I finished the book.
And like what, like...
For me, it was
just resonating that hard with you.
It was one of those things where I know
remind myself
at 50, 60, 75 years old, I know this is always going to be a good message. That's never not going to be a good message.
That's a great way to look at it.
Right? For me, that'll always mean something to me. So that's where it was like, all right, I'm willing to get this on my body forever.
realizing that if I'm 70 years old, then that's something that I can always look back on.
Dude, the power of the mind is a crazy thing.
Incredible.
And that's a great message, I think. It's a great message because it always checks you, and it's like everything that's happening around me it's the external and the internal, you know? So the internal is what I get to determine.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of how people say you can't control how a situation plays out, but you can control how you respond to that 100%. Situation. So I think that's a great message.
Yeah, have you read Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning?
No. That sounds
Great
cool.
book. It's almost kind of like that. You decide. He was a concentration camp, and it's a short book, so I would suggest reading it. But basically, it's the fact that, you know, why did he survive? It was because they couldn't break his mind.
Dang, that's crazy. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, no, it's a great read.
That's a good one.
I suggest it.
All right, Taylor. Thank you, man.
Chris.
I appreciate it, dude.
Thank you for having me on. This is
good
awesome.
stuff.
I know we've been wanting to do this. So
yeah, and I believe there's going to be a lot of good pieces that people can get some good value.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope to do more of these too.
We'll do more. This is only volume 1.
Dude, I love it.
Thanks, bro.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks.
Dominate.
Adelphia Insurance.
Let's go.